I did it. I did something that I kept for impossible for a long time, but I did it anyway. I crossed the bridge to the dark side and sold my beloved Yamaha Tenere 700 and bought a brand new motorcycle. And to make it even worse, from all the brands and models available in the market, I chose a model with a doubtful reputation and from a brand that nearly escaped bankruptcy just a few months earlier. In this video I will share my first impressions with you of the KTM 890 Adventure R 2024. My previous motorcycle was the Yamaha Tenere 700, so I will compare many things with the Tenere as this is simply the benchmark I have. I sold the Tenere after 46,000 km and it never let me down. So I can say that the Tenere is not only a great bike but also a very reliable bike. Just one flat tire in all those years and you can't really blame the bike for that. But now a new chapter has started with this KTM 890. KTM is not completely new to me, as I also own a Cascas ES 700 since last year, and that is basically the same as KTM 690 and Euro. And of course I have noticed KTM as a brand already many years ago, and I think 4 or 5 years ago I already did a test ride on a 1290, but I never really thought about buying a KTM. KTM was always a little bit too much for me, I think. Too much racing, too much motocross, too much off-road, too much of everything. And there has been, and there still is, a lot of negative things to find about KTM and the reliability of their bikes. KTM for some people it means keep throwing money or keine 1000 meter. Freely translated to you can't ride it even for 1000 meters before it will break down. Well, you don't get these nicknames if you don't deserve it, I guess. So buying a KTM motorcycle in 2025 is an interesting challenge, and the future will tell if this was a smart move or not. So far I have done almost 5000 km with it and without any problems, and of course I hope it will stay like that. But let me first tell you what modifications I have done already. Now I'm a tall person, 2 meter high to be exact, and the KTM 890 feels like a small motorcycle to me compared to the Tenere. It is not a small motorcycle and probably for most people it is a tall bike, but I had to make some adjustments to make it fit a little better for my length. I have installed bar risers, which makes the position of the steering wheel about 2 cm higher. And I have also installed foot pegs that are 5 cm lower, together with a 3 cm lower brake tip. And on the other side I lowered the shift lever, which is a pretty simple thing to do on the 890. I did not lower the brake pedal, as with a lower brake tip it works fine for me. These two changes made really a very big difference for me. I now can stand on the bike in a much more comfortable way without having to bend my knees as much as I had to do before. The foot pegs on the 890 are standard pretty high up from the ground, and even when you're not as tall as me, these lowered foot pegs are an upgrade that will give you a lot more comfort while riding off-road or doing long trips. The foot pegs I bought are the Bosley's Rally's foot pegs, and they are available in many sizes and models. I changed the standard seat of the KTM to the comfort seat from Seat Concepts. This is a more comfortable and wider seat and the tallest I could find. It is 3.8 cm higher than the original standard seat. I have done a few weekend trips with this seat already and had a pretty comfortable ride, so multiple hours on this saddle is also not an issue. Now it is a more comfortable seat, but I managed to get it a little bit damaged in a short period of time. I have no idea how, as I just sat on it, and I also noticed that the outside material easily wrinkles after a few hours in the saddle, so I'm not really sure how the seat will perform on the long run. On the back side of the motorcycle I have removed the standard KTM rack and replaced it with a rack from Perun Moto. This rack is larger and gives a lot more options to mount all kinds of bags. Below the seat I have installed a pre-air filter from Twinair together with an additional dust cover. The standard paper filter will still be the main filter of the bike, but this is just an extra filter and could be useful with off-road riding when you normally encounter more dust than driving on the highway. For the bags I chose the Moscow Moto backcountry pannier kit as I really like the orange color, so that was the main reason, but the bags feel pretty solid as well. This is the 35 liter version of the bags together with the additional 5 liter smaller bags mounted on the side. I have mounted the bags on the pannier rack from Outback Motortech, and what you see here is the asymmetrical version, which means it's a little less wider on the left side of the motorcycle, but it was still wide enough to mount an additional toolbox. I did not change the exhaust of the motorcycle and I probably won't do that either in the future. But I really don't know what it is with KTM and sound. It seems a kind of trademark from KTM that all their bikes sounds like shit. At least this one does, and my GasGas ES700 with a KTM engine doesn't sound any better. And that's a shame, because with another exhaust system they can produce a really nice sound. And you also get rid of that metal clunky sound that gives you the impression that your engine is about to die. Now I do use earplugs all the time, so I don't hear it very well myself, otherwise a new exhaust system would have been my first upgrade for this bike. There's one thing that I didn't mention earlier, but many people are always interested in windscreens on motorcycles. And if you get any turbulence with it or not. I don't get any turbulence with this windscreen, but I do get all the wind and all the noise right in my face. I'm used to it because I had the same with my Tenere, and it has a lot to do, almost everything to do probably with my own length. So yeah, I kind of accepted it that with my length it's kind of impossible to drive a bike without having a lot of wind noise in your helmet. Or you should put on a really high screen, maybe that will help. But that's not really what you want when you're going off-road. This screen is actually quite good, I think, because it will keep the wind away from your shoulders. And when you're not as tall as me, I think you can find a sitting position on the bike where it suits you very well. And even when it's too short or you will get wind, I don't think you will get turbulence, but the wind noise might irritate you. Then you can put on a higher screen, or you can put on these smaller screens you have, and that will most likely solve your problem. So I have no complaints about the screen. Now I haven't really told you yet what I think about this bike, and in one word, this bike is really amazing, and I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with it that I bought it, and I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope to enjoy it a lot longer. And the only thing I regret is that I didn't buy it any sooner, and that has a lot to do with all the negative things you can find on YouTube, on social media about KTM, about the 790 and 890 engines. Maybe they are true, I don't hope so, but so far I don't have any issues. I'm really happy with it. And if you also drive off-road, then this bike is really perfect. The low center of gravity, with the tanks being very low to the ground, great suspension. This really makes it a lot easier to drive off-road. And not only off-road, also on the road it has enough power, more than enough power to also drive very comfortable on the highway. So far so good. Now the reason why I make this video is that I use YouTube a lot myself for all kind of reviews about motorcycles, motor gear, or could be anything else. And when I was in the process of purchasing this bike, I could find enough information about KTM and about the 790, 1890, but especially the older models. And there was not so much available for the 24 model. So yeah, maybe this will help you a little bit to give you some more information about this bike. And I think there are a lot of people, maybe just like me, who have some interest in buying this bike, but also have a little bit fear about the negative news you can find about KTM, and especially the 790, 890 engines, and take away a little bit of that fear, because okay, I only have it for 5,000 kilometers now, and anything can basically happen with this motorcycle. But so far it has really been a pleasure, and I intend to make more videos about this bike. So it's also interesting for me to see how it will hold for the next 6 months and the next years. And the next one I will probably make after the 15,000 kilometers service. That will be probably early next year, as winter is now coming up. So if you're interested, subscribe or check the channel, and maybe it will help you a little bit. Thanks for watching so far. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I will be happy to answer them. If you like it, subscribe. If you don't like it, please go away, and I will see you for the next video. Thanks.